Which games are supporting HGiG and how can we find it out? That's the topic for this video. Enjoy! Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel Amok for All. Before we start, I have a big favor to ask. I have many viewers, but just around 10% of my viewers subscribing to my channel. So do me a favor, subscribe now and don't miss any new video. I would much appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so how can we find out now if a game like Spider-Man is actually supporting HGiG or not? And I did it this way. I went to settings, to our HDR adjustment page, and I set up HGiG in the complete wrong way. So usually you barely see, or you shouldn't see, the symbol, but I did it completely in the opposite way. The same with this page and the same with this, complete opposite, okay? Just to prove a point. And now I'm jumping back into Spider-Man. Okay, so we are back in Spider-Man, and we just keep in mind that we have set up HGiG in the complete wrong way. And the good thing on Spider-Man is that we have our HDR on-off switch here, which is very handy for this test actually. So just focus on this point at the moment, and I hope my camera can catch it. Right now HDR is off, okay? I turn it on and the picture goes darker. Turn it off, picture goes brighter. So just keep in mind, SDR at the moment is brighter than HDR. So back in the HDR settings menu from the PlayStation 5, and this time we do it completely the opposite way till we can't go further. And we're setting this to complete dark. Okay, and now we're jumping back into Spider-Man. Okay, back with Spider-Man and with adjusted HDR settings, still the wrong setting, but completely the opposite way, just to prove a point here. HDR is still off. We're focusing again on this spot here, and we remember that in the previous testing, when we changed it from off to on, the picture went darker or goes darker. So this time it goes brighter. Can you see? Off is SDR, on is HDR, it goes much brighter, and in real, now I hope my camera can catch this, it is very, very bright. If we have done this we did this in the wrong way, HGiG calibration, it was absolutely dark. Right now we have a very nice HDR picture, and now we set up HGiG in the right way. So we are back again with the adjustment HDR settings menu from the PlayStation 5, and this time we do it in the correct way. We have a look that this is barely visible, and then we go one step above. The same we do here, one step more, and here we keep this complete on the lowest setting. Now back to Spider-Man. Okay, now back with Spider-Man and the correct HGiG settings on the PlayStation 5. HDR is turned off. We know in the first testing it was brighter than HDR. In the second testing, HDR was much brighter than SDR. So what is now? We're now in off, on, off, on. I would almost say the brightness in HDR is a little bit lower. So from this scene, a little bit lower than SDR, but what I found is when we have a closer look on highlights like this here, and we're changing from HDR is now on, off, on, off. So what is now HGiG doing? This is now off. We have here very bright objects from the lamps, but when we enabling HGiG, this part here goes darker, and this goes a little bit brighter, which is absolutely what we like to see, because we don't want to have the, let's say like this, the darker parts over brighten, like with dynamic tone mapping on. We like to have the spectacular highlights like the lamps and all these bright details. We like to have this very, very bright, and this is what HGiG at the moment is doing. This is off. Have a look here, everything is a little bit washed out. When you turn it on, it goes darker. The contrast between The darkest scene and the brightest scene is very, very nice in HDR HGiG. What is my conclusion now with Spider-Man? HDR HGiG is working as it should be, in my opinion. HDR HGiG is supported by Spider-Man, or Spider-Man is supporting HDR HGiG. But what about other games? Let's have a look. And we start again with setting up HDR HGiG or HDR in the complete wrong way. And then I will try this with Immortals Fenyx Rising. Okay, I see you in a bit. With Immortals Fenyx Rising, in the option menu we have settings for the maximum luminance and exposure when HDR is activated. I will leave this on the standard settings for the moment, because what I'm interested in is actually, has HDR HGiG an impact when we're changing the settings in the PlayStation 5 menu? So right now, we just keep in mind, I have set up HDR HGiG in a complete wrong way, okay? So I put everything down, the symbol was completely visible, it is set up completely wrong. That's right now is the sun, very, very bright, and now we're setting up HDR HGiG or HDR in the other way. And that means instead of this, we're going the opposite way till we can't get any more. And we're going down here. And now we have a look how Immortals Fenyx Rising looks like. Okay, it is probably very hard to see for you on the screen, but there is no difference at all in terms of brightness from the sun. HDR HGiG, or the settings from the PlayStation 5 right now with HDR HGiG on, has no impact at all in this game. Not at all. And in my opinion, this is because we have settings in terms of brightness and exposure and stuff like this in the menu. What is my conclusion now in terms of HDR HGiG and what games are supported by HDR HGiG? Spider-Man is most likely supported by HDR HGiG because we just have a on and off switch in the game menu, and we can see clearly a difference with the wrong settings from HDR HGiG in the PlayStation 5 menu and the right settings. When we're talking about Immortals Fenyx Rising, we have sliders or setting or in-game settings for HDR in the option menu from the game. And it looks like there is no impact at all when we're using HDR HGiG and we set it completely wrong or completely right. So that means to me, as soon we have sliders in a game where we can, or settings in a game where we can set the HDR brightness or exposure or whatever you call it, then there's most likely no support for HDR HGiG. Okay, so that's for this video. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, because what I will do in the next days is I will test a lot of games in terms of HDR HGiG, and also if a game has in-game sliders or settings from HDR HGiG for HDR, HDR HGiG, HDR, it's getting too much. Anyway, if a game has in-game settings for HDR, I will post my recommended HDR settings, because believe it or not, the auto or standard settings from a game is not as you like to play probably. In terms of Immortals Fenyx Rising, for sure not, okay? So make sure you subscribe to my channel. I see you next time. Bye.